The story opens with a dragon attacking the people, fire blazing everywhere. They thought they would defeat the dragon and prepare for it, but that's not true because they walked into a trap, lost 3 days worth of food, and are now all hungry and about to lose their potential. At the same time, Fallon asks Laios to move out and is eaten by the dragon. Laios sees all this and thinks they all died because they are so deep in the dungeon. After that, Laios wakes up in a peaceful place and learns they all moved out from the dungeon by a magic spell. But Fallon is still in the dungeon because she cannot use magic spells inside the dragon's stomach. He decides to find her, but his 2 team members Marcel and Shilchuk tell him they are all cleaned out, and their 2 party members also resign. He decides to sell their current equipment and switch to cheap equipment because by doing this, they are able to buy food, medicine, necessities, and new companies, but it will take time. His little sister gets digested in the dragon's stomach. After that, they go to eat some cheap food, and on the way, he tells his companions to leave the party, and he will sell their equipment and enter the dungeon alone to save his sister. But they both cannot agree because Fallon is also dear to them. After that, they decide to go into the dungeon to get food because there is an entire ecosystem of monsters inside it. There are a lot of monsters in the dungeon, and humans can also eat in the dungeon. His companions refuse to eat any monsters. At the same time, some dungeon newbies run from there and they catch a mushroom. He read from the book Dungeon Food Guide that mushrooms are safe to eat and are meaty and have a mild taste. This place was a safe and bustling place for village people, adventurers, and merchants. But 6 years ago, this place was connected to the dungeon. People care about it because they say the monsters emerge from the depths of the dungeon, and they have odd appearances and attack humans. He kills a huge scorpion, they cook the food, but he cannot eat it because it is very bad. At the same time, an old man comes and tells them the right way to cook the scorpion hot pot. He cuts the pincers, head, and legs of the scorpion monster. He cuts the body of the scorpion into small pieces and cooks them in a large pot. He feels something is missing, so he cuts the plants with the root to add them. But Marcel cannot agree with it, and at the same time, slime is brought on her face. But this old man cuts the slime with a knife and kills it. He tells them it is easy to kill the slime, just to know their composition. He gives them slime by washing it with citrus juice and hot water. He also tells them to rub it with salt and dry it in the sun to make it delicious. He prepares their meal and tells them he has researched monster food in this dungeon for over 10 years. He makes a huge scorpion and a walking mushroom hot pot and serves them. They taste it and are shocked because it is too delicious and tasty. Marcel also tries it and loves it. After that, they introduce each other as the old man's name is Senshi, which means researcher in Dwarvish. Laios gives them his companions' introductions and mentions they are on a mission to save one of their companions who was eaten by the deep red scale dragon. Senshi asks them to accompany him because he has dreamed of cooking the red dragon for many years, and they agree. They all move to the second basement floor, and on the way, they think about what they will eat next for dinner. They decide to try to hunt some monsters near this place, but Marcel wants something normal like birds or tree fruits. Senshi tells them there are a lot of fruits during this season, but these fruits are not normal. They pull the creatures that touch them and wrap them but do not digest them. But Marcel cannot take it seriously and chooses his magic on the fruits. Senshi stops her, but she is trapped by the fruit. Senshi tells her she should not hurt fruit plants by her magic. She should only take as much as she can eat, and this is the rule. The plant throws the corpse of the person out of his body. She is held by a plant type that is a parasite that plants seed inside her skin, and that's the worst kind. Laios cuts the root of the plant to save her. They all collect the fruits and move inside the tree to spend the night. Senshi burns the fire and cooks the fruits in his way. He cooks the fruits and makes a man-eating plant fruit trat. They eat it and love it because they cannot expect it to be so delicious and tasty. Marcel also tastes and loves it. She also takes interest in these things. Everyone does their chores. They decide to make visible the corpse of a person and do it. At night, Marcel had a nightmare. In her nightmare, she remembers the day when her mother cooked her favorite dishes for her birthday. These dishes' ingredients are from the dungeon. She wakes up from the dream, smelling some grilled cured pork meat prepared for breakfast by another party. Senshi told them that fat is important to build up stamina because they have to explore the dungeon. But eating alone is not enough, and malnutrition is more terrifying than monsters. They decided to hunt monsters high in fat. Today, they decided to hunt the basilisk, king of snakes. This creature has the body of a chicken but the tail of a snake. Laios told them he likes this simple but profound combination of the two species and wants to taste it. They go to the basilisk's nest and snatch the fresh laid eggs. Suddenly, they hear the basilisk cry and see it attack people from another team. The basilisk sees eggs in Marcel's hand and attacks her. She fights but cannot save herself. Laios goes to save her, spreading his arms and legs to make his body look as big as possible and making a louder voice to keep it away. Laios and Senshi attack it at the same same time and kill it. They cook the meat and give it to the other team who got attacked by the basilisk. They all eat the meat and love it because it tastes like chicken. The other team members ask them how they became like them and cooked monsters here. Senshi tells them to pay attention to 3 things. First, they have to improve their diet. Second, they should rethink their circadian rhythm and engage in proper exercise to make their bodies stronger naturally. They tell Marcel not to hurt herself and to rest because it is impossible to reach the 3rd floor today. They decide to take part with fewer monsters, so they secure some food. For that reason, they go to the mandrake colony to collect some vegetables. Marcel knows how to harvest mandrakes. She tells them they need a string and a dog. They tie the dog to the mandrake, and from a distance, they call the dog, and the mandrake is pulled out. But the dog dies because the mandrake screams when pulled out, and it makes a person die. Leos suggests using a string from a larger distance so that it cannot hear the scream. Senshi pulls the mandrake and cuts its head off beforehand and tells them if they do it, it will not scream. They are shocked to hear it, but he tells them he has experience and has done it for many years. She takes it badly and decides she will not do anything she has never tried but still wants to show them her method. It makes sense, but she does not have a dog. So, she decides to trap a monster, big bats, in this area. She makes a trap near the big bat's nest and waits for them. She uses her magic spell on their nest, and a big bat is trapped. But the big bat goes to attack her. She now realizes that she cannot replace the dog with big bats. They go to see her, and she is fine. But she tells them she did it because she panicked when she heard she was a burden and wanted to prove herself to them and make them bow down to her. She tells them she just wants to help them. Leos tells her everyone has strengths and weaknesses, and they need her deeper into the dungeon where monsters get stronger, and they depend only on her magic. Taking herself with them is a huge help. Senshi cooks the food and makes mandrake and basilisk omelet. They eat it and like it. Senshi gives Marcel some extra delicious parts as a small gift, but she tells him she does not want it because she gets sick and tired of eating monsters. They all move to a shortcut entrance. Chilchik removes his shoes and moves first over the tiles to find out if there's a trap or not. When Senshi moves with foot sticking, suddenly many traps open. They see a powerful fire. Chilchik takes it badly and tells him to do his own job, as everyone has to do things their way. They decide to cook food on the fire trap. Chilchik gives them hot boiling olive oil from the trap for cooking. Chilchik gets the big bat, and Senshi prepares the food. Chilchik cooks food on the fire, and they prepare mandrake and big bat cakeage, which everyone likes because it is tasty and crispy. Chilchik and Senshi decide to teach each other something about their skills in their spare time. They all moved down the stairs and reached a room. Chilchik opened the door with Leo's sword, but unfortunately, the decoration on Leo's sword was lost. He is worried about his sword decoration because he got this decoration 3 years ago when he joined the gold peeling crew to gain experience. He and his sister moved further into the castle to find something. But the castle's armor, in the form of monsters, killed the people. He fought with them and eventually obtained this sword from the armor. He told them he wanted to taste the armor once in his life. They moved into the room but hastily left the room, fearing the unknown nature of the armor. They tried to move, but the armor blocked their path. They retreated and closed the door. Marcel told them the armor does not have physical feelings. They are creatures controlled by someone. They decided to find the magic user controlling the living armor to stop them. Leos suggested that 3 of them act as bait to draw their attention while one of them passed through the door. Marcel, Chilchik, and Senshi attracted the armor's attention, allowing Leos to pass. But unfortunately, he finds another living piece of armor that looked strange in the room. He fought with it, but his sword broke. He came to realize his strength lay in his shield, which was actually an egg of some creature. He thought these were living creatures acting on instinct to protect the egg. There were many ways to defeat them and to eat them. Meanwhile, the other 3 also fought with armor that seemed endless. Leos thought it was a different creature he couldn't match in power. He takes off armor head. He noticed a gap in its head filled with mollusks. He approached it and discovered they mimicked muscle movements. He is able to kill him. He put the shield towards the other armor and told his companions to move towards him. He explained that this was a living creature not controlled by a magic user, and the material inside them was edible. Senshi was told to cook it once because it looked nutritious. After that, they decided to pry the meat from the armor and cook it with oil, herbs, and seasoning, preparing a dish called grilled living armor and steam-based living armor. Leos tasted it first and loved it because it was delicious and tasty. Senshi, Chilchik, and Marcel also tried it and found it fine. They all ate it and moved out. Leos moved with the armor sword to continue his journey to save his sister. Please subscribe to our channel for the latest update.